Hello everyone, and welcome to the Missouri School Boards Association's Board Report for the month of November. We thank you for the opportunity to share some news and information during a few minutes of your board meeting. We begin with a look at the Common Core state standards. Missouri is one of 45 states that have signed on to the Common Core, a set of academic standards supported by the National Governors Association and the Council of Chief State School Officers. The Vice President of the State Board of Education, the Reverend Stan Archie of Kansas City, told an audience at the recent MSBA annual conference the Common Core will allow Missouri to measure itself accurately against other states.
As the Common Core becomes integrated in the things that we do, we're going to have to do as much as we can to educate the entire state on kind of what that means and what that looks like and what those standards look like on a regular basis, so that districts across the state will also have the same standard that we're looking at, and then our state is being measured equally with all the other states in the country.
Missouri has joined with 30 other states in what's called the Smarter Balance Consortium, an organization that is developing tests based on the Common Core standards. Department of Elementary and Secondary Education officials tell us the new tests in math and communication arts will be implemented in schools throughout the state in the 2014-15 school year and will require a transition from the current MAP assessments. To learn more about the Common Core state standards, you can participate in an MSBA webinar on December 13th. That webinar will include information on what school boards should be doing now to make the transition to the new standards, and how to prepare parents and other stakeholders for the implementation of the standards. That event is part of MSBA's Winter Webinar Series. You can register for those webinars through the MSBA website. Meanwhile, the comment period is now open for the revised resource and process standards associated with the latest Missouri School Improvement Program, which is used to determine the accreditation status of school districts throughout the state. The State Board of Education gave preliminary approval to the standards at its September meeting. Among other things, these new standards include recommendations for class sizes and the number of administrative and support staff needed based on a school's enrollment. But what if your school district can't afford to hire the recommended number of administrators? Assistant Commissioner Margie Van Dieven says accreditation decisions will be made primarily on the basis of student performance, and the resource and process standards will come into play only if the performance standards are not met.
Publicly, it is always, I understand the PR issues when you're saying this is the state standard and here is where we are, but you can use that to your advantage too to help with your community to say, research and the state standards indicate we should have enough funding for this, help us get there. But as far as the state goes, MSIP 5 is still designed to start with the performance measures.
You can submit your comments on the proposed resource and process standards by using the email address on your screen. All comments must be received by December 3rd. The State Board of Education is likely to give final approval to those standards early next year. Well, research tells us as many as 25% of students have been bullied at school, but only 1/3 of bullying victims have told an adult about it. Dr. Scott Poland is a nationally recognized expert on school bullying based at Nova Southeastern University in Florida. He told an audience at the recent anti-bullying conference sponsored by the Missouri Center for Education Safety, it's important that students feel like somebody cares whether or not they come to school.
All of our schools have some charismatic teachers that kids kind of gravitate towards, and it's very important that those teachers not keep a secret about dangerous behavior. And we want the kind of school climate where students will actually tell us what's going on, and the literature says they hesitate or they don't tell us because they fear retaliation, they don't want to get involved, they don't think something serious could happen, or they've been conditioned not to tell. And perhaps the last reason they give that will bother school personnel the most is they say, well, I'm sorry, I don't have a relationship with them, I don't trust them to really help me. And I just believe that every teacher needs to know kids' hopes and dreams and needs to invest time and energy getting to know them. And I think that's actually how we get students to perform the best academically. They do it when they think the teacher sincerely cares about them as a person.
Poland says bullied children are more likely to become anxious or depressed and are more likely to take their own lives. He says school boards play a critical role in establishing policies that help create a safe and secure environment for students. The Missouri Center for Education Safety is a partnership of the Missouri School Boards Association and the Missouri Department of Public Safety. It won't be long until filing opens for the April school board elections. Filing opens this year on December 11th in most school districts in the state and on December 18th in some school districts in the Kansas City area. Citizens with a sincere interest in their community's children and quality of their education are encouraged to consider running for the school board. In order to run for the school board, a candidate must be a citizen of the United States, a resident taxpayer of the school district, a resident of Missouri for at least 1 year, and at least 24 years old. Filing this year closes on January 15th. That's it for this month's edition of the MSBA Board Report. Thanks for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and so long from Columbia.